Hey guys, welcome back to ND Cubing. I'm your host, ND Cuber. Today I have a pretty exciting video for you guys. I'm going to be doing a comparison of the YJ Sigma with cubes in its price range and explaining what I think about it. So without further ado, let's begin. This is the MGC Sigma. I've had this cube for about a week and a half since it came out. I used it at Brown Speed Cubing Day 2026, and it was pretty good. In this video, I'm going to be comparing it to some other puzzles and explaining what I think about it. So without further ado, let's get started. The most obvious comparison I want to make is to the Meta. The MGC Meta has a lot of features that I really like. It's very tactile. The unique magnetic placement makes the cube feel very cool, and I haven't really experienced this in another puzzle besides the GAN 16. I also really enjoy doing long sessions on it because I feel like I won't tire out due to the nice feeling of the puzzle. Some of the things I don't enjoy about this cube are that I feel as though I can get lockups and the blockiness can get very overwhelming at times. Only using the MGC Sigma for about a week, I actually really like it. Some of the flaws that I noticed out of the box were that it was very fast and I had to slow it down quite a bit. I used Super Honey on the tracks of the pieces to slow the cube down. Along with that, I kept all the tensions the same. I just broke in the Super Honey and maintained a slow but controllable feel. The best times I've gotten on this cube was a low 8 average of 5, and I was trying it in Brown Speed Cubing Day, although I didn't perform with it. I think the price of this cube is very competitive and quite matches up well with the MGC Meta. The MGC Sigma comes with maglev and the MGC Meta comes with springs. The difference is quite noticeable as, like I said, this cube was very fast and I had to slow it down with the most slow lube I own. The Meta, on the other hand, was very nice and I didn't really have to slow it down, although I did a couple modifications to this which changed the feeling. I really like the Sigma and I think it's very comparable to the Meta. It's a little cheaper than the Meta, and for that reason I think I prefer it more. I also like the texture of the plastic, and I think the tactility that I get from this cube is slightly more enjoyable than the Meta. However, I think if you own either puzzle, you'll enjoy them. I enjoy them for slightly different reasons, and I think they feel good enough to warrant purchasing one or the other. And, overall, I really like them both. I think they're great cubes. In total, this comparison, I think you should get both, or, one or the other. They're good. I don't think one is objectively better than the other. Really, it's up to preference. They kind of feel very similar, so I think you'll enjoy whichever one you end up getting. Comparing the Sigma to the GAN Leap, I really enjoy the Leap, and it's becoming one of my favorite cubes to just play with and bring with me. I brought this puzzle with me on the tee, and I didn't have any issues with it, so I think this cube can perform well out in public, and in competition, I was getting 8-second averages while waiting to go up for my round, so I definitely do like this cube, and I definitely think it's noteworthy in competition as being stable. This cube was a little slower out of the box, which I liked more. I definitely had to slow down the Sigma. I think they feel drastically different, so depending on what you're going for and what you like, you'll prefer one over the other. The Leap is very fast, clicky, and kind of punishes you for the way you turn. You have to be pretty accurate to turn this cube. The Sigma does not punish you for your turning as long as you slow down the puzzle, and I think I can be a little bit more rough with this. The Sigma is more blocky, but the GAN Leap is also pretty blocky. I think it just comes down to the level of tactility because I feel like the Leap is definitely more clicky and tactile than the Sigma, but the Sigma just feels more blocky and airy. It's a weird difference, and I definitely think they're really cool. It's pretty difficult to put into words. I'd say go for whichever one you want because they're both $30, but I like them both. Again, this is a really difficult comparison to make because they're equally really, really good. And I think whichever one you choose, you'll like. Sigma compared to the Ferro-core is pretty good. The Ferro-core right now in the cubicle is $30 because they're releasing the Ferro-core 2, I think next week, which I'm very excited to see. I really enjoy the Ferro-core and it's been one of my mains for a very long time. In my opinion, I do definitely prefer the Ferro-core over the Sigma, and that's for a couple of reasons. The Ferro-core is definitely more forgiving with your turning. I'm more reliant on it as I like MOU mechanisms over YJ mechanisms. I definitely think YJ has a couple things they could improve upon, but I definitely prefer the Ferro-core over the Sigma because I know the Ferro-core more, and I think I can get better, more reliable times with it. That's not to say that the Sigma is bad, I just like the Ferro-core more. The last comparison I'd make is to the RS3 MV5. I really like the RS3 MgC. This is a PyCube Shop version with matte plastic that I modified pretty heavily. The Sigma doesn't really feel like an RS3 MgC. They're very different. I'd say the RS3 MgC is lighter and slightly less blocky than the Sigma. However, I think if you get the Sigma, It'll be a nice refresh, as I think there are some prominent issues with the RS3 MV5 that are getting more noticeable as this cube ages. I think one of the things that upsets me is the corner splitting issues when you drop it hard. And not only that, I think the tension settings are a little bit limiting. I definitely can get the same times on both, but I think I prefer the clicky tactileness of this cube over the more buttery, smooth, blocky feeling of the RS3 MV5. And for laughs and giggles, I thought I'd compare the MGC Sigma to the MoYu Super V2. The MoYu Super V2 is one of my mains. I love this puzzle. I use this to get my 10.41 average of 5 in competition, which was, I was okay with that average. It wasn't the best, but I liked it. The Super V2 is just a very nice puzzle, and right now I think it's better than the MoYu Weilong version 11. However, once we get the Ferro-core, that my opinion is obviously going to change because a Ferro-core is great. I think this cube is really reliable and nice, and I think you can set it up in a variety of ways that most cubes just don't have the ability to have. It also has a very nice integrated magnet changing system, which I think no other cube has done correctly. You could argue that for GAN, but I think this cube is better. Anyway, I think compared to the Sigma, obviously the price difference is noticeable. The plastic in the V2 is a lot better than the Sigma, but I will say, I think the Sigma has the Super V2 beat in one category, and that's the enjoyment of the solves. Don't get me wrong, I really enjoy solving on the Super V2, and I've done like 3-hour averages on this before, which has been amazing. However, when I solve on this cube, there's something about it that I just really like. I don't know what it is. It could be the feeling, it could be a placebo, it could be the way the magnets are set up, because the magnets in here are different than the regular beta or meta, but something about this cube just makes it really enjoyable to bring on a train, or to, just walk around with, or just solve for long periods of time. And I don't know, it reminds me of, like, it's so difficult to describe. I made a comparison to a really old puzzle, which no one knows about anymore, I think. It's the MFRS2M, but this cube feels a lot like this, and I love it. I absolutely love it. The piece geometries are kind of different, but it's that blocky clickiness that brings me back to 2017, and I don't know what it is, but it's just nostalgia bait, I think. I really like the Sigma, and I think you should get it. In essence, I think the Cubicle absolutely cooked with this puzzle. It's great. This isn't really me trying to like sell you something, because I'm not selling you this, and I'm not even sponsored by the Cubicle, but it's like, I think you should get it. Like, come on. Like, it's great. It feels good. I like it. I think this cube is the best YJ cube that there is. I think you'll be very pleasantly happy if you buy this puzzle and won't regret it. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching. As always, I'm MD Cuber. I hope you have a great day. Bye-bye.